Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this panel, and thank you to all the amazing speakers for joining us. We at ETRetail have been very actively covering the role of content creators in the building of brands, right? So I think this conversation is very critical and very important to see how brands evolve their marketing strategies and absolutely the super important role that the creators of today and tomorrow play, right? So in this conversation, we'll try to understand how this ecosystem of partnership between a content creator and a brand has sort of evolved, and how do the content creators look at the future strategies, their plan of action, and their point of views. So I'd like to start with you, Rupali. Your
Hello.
comment on how do you see this partnership between you as a content creator and the retail brands sort of evolving, and specifically you have been an advocate of the mid-size community. So how does that impact your decision making while saying yes or no to a brand partnership?
So I think in today's time, influencers play a huge role in, redirecting the minds of the audience and how people in today's sector look at fashion. And being a mid-sized creator, I think that has been the best thing for me because I, as an individual, was very insecure about my own body for the longest time. But the time when I started, inspiring people, I think by giving confidence to my audience to try out new styles, I got my confidence back, which has been the most beautiful journey. So I think as a mid-sized content creator, I feel when a brand comes to me, I always see that how inclusive their collection is because there are a lot of brands these days that don't look into the account that are their pieces catering to the needs of all the people. When you see models on the ramp or all these campaigns that are happening lately, they are centered around a certain body type. So when I, as a creator, talk about that inclusivity, that gives them the confidence to, wear that style. And the same way, I choose brands that are body inclusive and they celebrate it in the best possible way.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm very glad to share that across these 2 days, with our conversation with so many brands, inclusivity, body positivity, and brands' approach to include plus sizes has been a central theme. So, you, as a content creator, contributing to this ecosystem, I think there's so much action to be seen, right?
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. And I really appreciate that. And I hope to see more and more brands coming forward with this idea.
Wonderful. Thank you so much again. Shakti, I want to get your inputs. As a content creator, how do you use the data and insights that you get from your consumers to improve your future collaborations? And sort of when a brand comes to you, what is the ROI that you offer to them?
So I feel insights are our audience. We get to know what are they liking, what time are they watching us. So that's why I myself keep checking the insights to know my audience better. For me, my audience is very, very important. So I make sure that every time I'm having a conversation with a brand, I share with them the kind of content my audience like. And about ROI, I believe these days, on influencers, you don't have that pressure of sales. It's more, brand is using your page or your social media to create awareness. So I think that is more important than the sales as of now. Every time there's a new launch, we would share so that people know about the product, and we would share our review. But I don't think as a creator I feel that pressure on the sales or something, or to discuss even that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Weber, coming to you, if you can take us back to your thought process when selecting a brand deal or a partnership. In the most Gen Z terms, what are the green flags and the red flags in a brand deal?
I'm a millennial, just by the way. Anyway, so I think so when we are looking out at brand partnerships, the first thing as a creator today that I see is that if I'm promoting a product and when my audience is actually going to use it, are they going to be happy about it? Because that is very important. At the end of the day, we as creators, we as influencers, we have a community and a lot of people who trust us. And that has to be somewhere the bottom line, that at the end of the day, whatever you are promoting, you should first believe in it yourself. For instance, there was this one brand. It was a collaboration, and they were paying me lakhs literally. I had to turn it down because I knew it for a fact that if I'm gonna put it on my channel, a lot of people are gonna buy it because that was the segment, and they will not be happy with the product at the end of the day. So you need to make these decisions if you really want to be here in the longer run. And well, red flags and green flags. Green flag too, if they are paying you good, what better? No, but jokes aside, green flag is that if the brand is giving you the creative liberty, that is very important. Because even today there are a lot of brands who have a very traditional and advertisement sort of an approach that somewhere needs to be checked. And that is actually also the red flag. I mean, if you're not getting the creative liberty, that is when you kind of know that it might not work in the long run.
But it's fair to assume that the ecosystem in the last 4 years especially
Yeah,
has really evolved, right?
a lot. I mean, there has been a drastic change, and that is the reason why you're seeing. So there used to be a time when there was a huge marketing budget which was only allocated to TV advertisement, to social media, to banners. Today there is a set budget that is given only for the creator economy. So that in itself is a exact proof that how the ecosystem has completely changed. And also because when an influencer is pitching a brand or promoting a brand, and if there's a story to it, there's also a lot of trust. The gap has been bridged, which earlier used to be a very advertisement versus ki ek layman tak pahunchne ke liye it was just a product promotion. But today it's more of an emotional connect that a lot of people have.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that, Vaibhav.
Most welcome.
Ashna, I'd like to come to you. And in any journey, there are challenges. In this journey of brands and content creators collaborating with each other, what are some key challenges that you see? And just a layered question on this: how critically do you see the importance of viral content in a brand collaboration?
I think it's a broader question. I think every content creator might have a different answer to the challenges that they face. But a common problem that we see, like Vaibhav said, is the liberty and the content, the freedom, and also like the creative liberty that we get when we are creating content. I think when we're working with brands, and sometimes we also have a middle agency in the communication pipeline, there are many people and many ideas that we have to that are floating around. And I think the challenge there is to have a clearer idea. And sometimes brands can be very restricting in terms of what we can do and what we can't. And sometimes we have a lot of freedom, but we have to keep in mind what the campaign is about and what the product is. Um, yeah, I think that's one of the main aspects that, sometimes you can also have a different idea about the money that you're making or the timelines, and there'll be different issues here and there. But the main thing is about the liberty that you get to create, because every creator has a different aesthetic. You have to kind of blend the two things together, the brief that the brand has and what goes on your page. Does it match the way that you film your videos otherwise? So if you're really passionate about the brand, or you wanted to work with this brand for a very long time, you might let go of the deadline. You'll still find a way to work around it. If the budget is less, you'll still be like, okay, I really want to work with this brand. But if there's so many restraints in terms of how you can do it, then every little thing will like bother you. Because I've seen sometimes we've got like a very strict guideline, like you have to say these things and you have to do these actions, and then every creator that's posted the video looks exactly the same. So I feel the motive behind working with different creators is so that you get a different output with every person. And moving on to the second part of the question, uh, virality, I feel, is like a cherry on top of the cake. Like if it happens, it's great. But I don't think any brand has reached out to me, or I have, set that expectation that this brand reel has to go viral. Like that pressure has never been put on us. But again, it is great if it happens, because then the brand has so much engagement, the brand gets so much awareness, reach. It's also good for the sales if the reel or the product gets viral. But I think again it ties back to the first part of the question, that if you're happy with the content that you've made and the brand is happy mutually, then that's what's
Wonderful.
important.
I think that was a very honest answer. Thank you so much for
Thank
that.
you.
This brings to a very critical question, and I think it's my personal favorite question. What is that one homework creators want brands to do before they come together for a brand deal? And I think, Shakti, if you can take this up first.
I would say freedom. Freedom to let us do the way we want to do, because we know our audience, we know how they like it, and they love us for the way we are. So sometimes when brand sends you these very specific brief, it becomes so mechanical. And as Ashna said, everybody's video starts to look same. We are creators, we are supposed to do something creative, and if we have a specific brief and all the videos are looking same, even if I'm very genuinely talking about this product, even if I love this product, audience tend to feel that everybody is saying the same thing and it's not true. So I feel if they give us the freedom to create the way we want to, that would be the best.
So thank you so much for that. Ashna, your thoughts?
I think maybe have a, like I've experienced this in the past where, like I said, there are multiple people to communicate and execute a campaign, and sometimes there's not a clear idea about what the campaign or the brief is, so there's a lot of back and forth in terms of that, and it's much more smoother, and we have like a lot of space to discuss if we know what the clear idea is.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Rupali, your comments?
I think Shiv Shakti and Ashna have covered most of it. So I want to add to it that I've personally experienced this, that a lot of the brands don't do proper research when they are approaching a creator. So let's say I got an advertisement for a juice brand, right? And I've been very clear on my social media that I don't take certain kind of foods. So if I promote that brand, that won't relate to my audience. So sometimes brands just go by the popularity, which is very unfair, because I think someone who knows food or has the knowledge in that spectrum could do more justice for that brand. And along with that, a lot of the times the brands feel that someone with a bigger audience would do a better job. But I feel that these days, smaller creators are connecting better because they are catering to their audience in a way that they are connecting with each and every one of them. So it kind of be like a backlash for me, but I feel that when I'm sitting at 1 million, I might not be able to give that personalized attention to each and every one in my audience. So the number of followers should never be the constraint while choosing a creator. And again, choosing the right niche. If you are a beauty brand, you would want to go for a beauty creator rather than just a lifestyle or a fashion creator. And yeah, like they said, that creative liberty is something we all struggle with, because I think the brands still don't understand that every creator brings their own twist, their own flair to the content, right? So if what like Ashna does, maybe if I do the same, might not work for my audience. And like the way Vaibhav presents his content, which is very glamorous, by the way, might not work for my audience because I make more of the educative sort of videos. So the same brief never works, and the brand should even ask us to put your own taste, your own flavor to it, because the word creator means we create. So let us create what we feel the best could be done.
Excellent. I think that's a very on point answer and much needed one. Thank you so much for that. Vibhav, your thoughts?
I think more or less everything has been covered, but just one more thing that I'd like to add here is brands should be very well versed with the target audience and the audience and the niche the creator is catering to. So there are a lot of times when there is a contradiction between the brand and the target audience that the creator has. Again, as she rightly mentioned, that it is also a lot of times because of the number game. But see, it's like at the end of the day, if your promotion or if your advertisement or if the campaign is not reaching the right audience, if the product is not reaching the right audience, then no matter how much fancy a, a video has been made or a content piece has been made, it won't really work well. And this is something I'm saying from the brand's perspective, so that it only helps the brand to get there. That I think is one major homework that I think a lot of brands should definitely do. And I also, one more thing, that they should be clear about their objectives. A lot of times there's a confusion if the brand wants visibility or sales. It's a very different thing altogether that a lot of people still need to understand.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. One final question to all of you, and we can start with you, Shakti. What is that one trend in the fashion content space that you want all the fashion retailers or fashion brands to take a note of?
Mm, I think relatability, because all of us are different, and we have our own way of doing things. So if the fashion is more relatable, sometimes you see fashion, it looks so pleasing to see, but I just know that I cannot dress up like that. So if something is relatable, I think that would be really nice.
Excellent. As a consumer, I really like that answer. Thank you so much for that. Ashna, your comment?
I think a lot of uh, the audience likes to see what measures a brand is taking. Like if it's a fast fashion brand, for example, they want to see the behind the scenes, like how your materials are sourced, what efforts you're making to go a little out of your way and listen to what your customers want.
Very interesting. Thank you so much for that. Rupali?
I think I'll come back to my first point that I shared, that I feel a lot of the brands are still lacking in inclusivity. And that just doesn't limit to the sizing, because with every size, there are so many different body types and people are not aware about it. Just yesterday, I bought a dress online. I saw it on the model and it was looking fab. It came home and I tried, and I'm like, what is this? What did I buy? So that's kind of an illusion it's creating, right? If I'm seeing a model who's maybe extra small, and if I buy that dress, maybe it won't fit me the right way. And again, I am a petite woman. So if I see a model who is, let's say, 5'6", 5'7", she's rocking a dress, which maybe is a midi dress, might fit me as a maxi, altogether a different look. So I think if the brands become a little more inclusive with the sizing, and actually true to the size, because I feel that a lot of the brands, when they tag something as large, it isn't really a large, because Indian body types are very different. Like a lot of the Indian brands are still following UK or US sizing, which is so absurd to me. So it's my request to all those homegrown brands that, like, just consider more about us. I want to share an example of this brand. So Forever New is this brand that recently came up with a petite collection. They entirely designed these line of dresses that are catering to the women who are under 5'4". And the designs are meant to fit that way, which is so flattering. I tried so many of those dresses and I was so impressed, because I've never seen any brand doing that. And I would also want to see more impactful campaigns where I see models that actually look like me, so that I feel that urge of buying the products. Because Just like how all the audience sees me as a creator. So when I wear a dress and they feel that it's relatable and it might look good on my body type, they instantly buy it. So the same goes for us. I want to see more models, more campaigns that are inclusive, relatable, and actually look what they show on the camera.
Excellent. I think that's a great point, and we can say it's very positive that a lot of brands are working towards it. Right. Thank you so much for that, Vaibhav.
So I think in the menswear space today, at least, that brands have a great opportunity, because I think if we see 5 years before, no man at least would be like कि black pant और white shirt के अलावा मैं कुछ पहन लेता हूँ. Blue jeans and white shirt is my staple. But today people are ready to experiment, and I personally feel the brands who are going to make the most out of this time, they're actually going to uh, cater to a great audience, and they're going to build a lot of loyal customers. For instance, there are few brands which are coming up. They are new brands, and they know it for a fact that for instance, there are like these high-waisted pants, if I'm to take an instance of, it's a trend that people are really willing to go for. People are asking for it, men are asking for it, but there are no brands in the market today who are making. It's just one brand, and they customize it, and they are selling it to another level, and they're literally putting a lot of retail giants behind them when they're doing things like this. So being very active in what the trends are going on, because today we are ready to spend a lot. Today we are ready to invest on ourselves a lot. So this is a very good opportunity, good time, I personally feel, especially for retail brands in the menswear segment, to explore this space now.
Very interesting. Thank you so much for sharing that. And you're absolutely right. I think men's wear, men's beauty, men's grooming, men as a whole, as a section, are very exciting. So thank you so much for sharing that. We have a few minutes with us if there are any questions from the audience. Can we get a mic?
Good evening. So how do you deal with this? See, because when I speak with a lot of youngsters today, every other one wants to be an influencer. So when I ask the question how, someone say I'm a good dancer, I have good face expressions and all that. So keeping that aside, one guy I spoke, really thought provoking. What he said is, I have a great plan, and I asked him what. He said, I want to invest 25 lakhs. First, have a good photo shoot, and then pay 1 lakh for fake followers, and then continue to invest 25 lakhs on fake likes and fake views, and then become a content creator. There are 2-3 cases with the Mumbai police is dealing now about all this fake followers and all that. So what I want to know is do you have an association or a body where you can lobby and get a law out of, and how do you crack this down? Okay, this looks like a big problem, right? Even for you guys. So this is my first question. Can I take another? One
Yes,
more?
I think we do have some time in hand, so we can take a few questions if not.
I think we can first take the answer.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
this
sure.
one. Who would like?
So I didn't get the last line. You want us to tell you how do you bridge a gap between fake followers or actual followers, or how everyone is today trying to become
No, what I said is, do you have a body or an association, like where you make a representation to the government that
So-
this kind of a thing is happening, and how do you help other content creators, even the consumers, from being misled?
Hmm.
So, is there any action that you guys, as a top influencers, are taking to crack this down? I mean, yeah.
So
I
to
don't
answer,
think we have any such law.
yeah, so
as of
there
now.
is no such law or any body per se, because still this industry, since it's booming, it's still very unorganized. There are still bodies and associations which are to be formed, but getting back to the whole following and the bots wala part, so there are dedicated tools. If you put in the profile of a specific creator, for instance, I'm a brand, and if I want 10 creators, and I want to first cross check if their profiles are, if they have genuine followers or not, I can use that tool very simply. All the agencies today which are working would know about those tools, they would easily be able to figure it out if the influencer or the creator has genuine followers or not, which is something I also personally feel is a very important thing. Because what happens is, at the end of the day, when we have created this space after years of hard work, and tomorrow if I see someone who's coming up new and he's taking away campaigns from me and be like, "Ki, I know it for a fact that it's not a genuine, yeah, the followers are not authentic." It's a very difficult thing for us also to adjust to that. So there's no, again, as I mentioned earlier, association per se. It would be great if there is some, but at the same time, yes, there are tools available today which we can easily distinguish who is genuine and who is not.
So I would add to that, if you are a brand and you reach out to a creator, the best thing to know how genuine that person is to look at their content. You will know when there is life in the content, when it's true. And I would always suggest a brand to do their research before reaching out to a creator. Like, you follow that creator for a month and see how their progress is, because a genuine creator, you will see that there's a lot of thought put in every content. It's not just for the sake of virality, because the creators who are here to stay, they're not working for likes and followers. So brands should always do their research. I would say read out the comments and see how well their audience is engaging. And yeah, like he said, there are apps at the end of the day. If nothing works, that's to the rescue.
Priti, you wanted to add something?
Also, I feel not every time, brands are focusing on that. Sometimes they are like, जिनके पास likes है, comments है, they're like, हमको वही चाहिए. You will also notice that people who are real will have different kind of views. On some videos it will be more, some videos कम होंगे. But if it's continuously the same kind of videos, I think they all are boosting it. And these days, the brands wants to boost our videos. That's another thing, another topic altogether.
And I think that is where the people who are actually making the campaigns, who are in between the creator and the brand, they have a very vital role to play. So there are agencies who dedicatedly would only work with creators with genuine audiences, and there are people who are okay with whatever audiences that they have.
Perfect. I think great answers and a very good question. I think it's an important topic to be discussed. Thank you so much for all the answers, and it was wonderful to speak with all of you, get your insights. We look forward to collaborating with you again. Thank you again for
Likewise.
joining
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you.